Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Bobby Manning.
Last one.
Josue Pavon.
Last one at TD Garden for the regular season.
Last home game, couple weeks. It'll be before we're back here to start the playoffs, and the Celtics are hitting their stride. A weak opponent, no Kyle Kuzma, but the Celtics blow out the Wizards 144-102. End up sitting their starters with 8 minutes to go in the fourth. Blow Washington out in the third. It was a close game for about a half, but Jaylen Brown set a tone early with 13 on his way to 32 points for the second straight game, averaging 29 over his last 9 games alongside Jason Tatum. 9 straight games with 25-plus, 5 of those 30-plus. He's hitting his stride this season. He's shooting 59% from the field over this stretch. Super aggressive, getting inside, finding his shot in this game especially. Ime Udoka said after, Jaylen can do everything. And over this last stretch here, heading into the playoffs, he has done a little bit of everything, which has surprised me because I thought the finisher might be his sweet spot. In this game, he's crossing over in the step-back threes and pretty much scoring from everywhere on the floor.
Yeah, and I love to see that, Bobby, because we know that he has those handles. We know that he can go off like this, especially this recent surgence of first quarter he's dropping like 13 points here, another night he's dropping 11. Like coming out of the gate that hot, I think is huge for his confidence, I think. And you look what he's doing in the second half of things, still being more involved. I know we talked about that before, that sometimes he seems to like kind of disappear, but right now I feel like seeing him limiting those turnovers and being able to control the off the dribble, beating guys on the floor, like that's exactly what you want to see from Jaylen. Not just him attacking in stride and just getting those bounce passes, because we know that he can do that. We know how athletic he is, but getting more comfortable with beating guys off. I love the turnaround fadeaway. I feel like that's been money right now, one of his go-to shots. And yeah, this is great. This is exactly what you want to see. Him and Tatum right now, the last 9 games, almost identical in terms of their scoring averages and scoring numbers. This is exactly what you want to see from your 2 best players going into the postseason.
For sure, and the identical shot numbers, both of them taking 18 shots
Weird.
a game.
It's almost creepy. It's like,
yeah.
How did you guys do that? Did you guys do this on purpose or what?
It's like they found their sweet spot, their roles. I still have a tough time hammering down like where exactly Brown's going to fit in. I know he's leading the second unit. Good to see him having some success there. I think he knows he's going to be in a lot of those finishing roles with Tatum initiating on the ball, over 5 assists over the stretch for Tatum. Jalen's still finding a way to get over 3 a game, which I think is good. So he has found his role, it feels like. He's found full health. That helps a lot. He had the ankle injury last month, so I'm sure he's found his footing under him, and this jump shot certainly there now, which helps a ton for your scoring. But with, like you said, it was always that question of, is he going to get lost in the shuffle here? Is he going to not have the ball in his hands, be standing in the corner and uninvolved in the offense? That never happens anymore, and that really has turned a page in his career to where he's a low 20 scorer. Now he's a high 20 scorer every single night with Tatum, and that makes him dangerous. Everybody forgets. There was a big conversation after the game. He wasn't there in the playoffs last year, and that's going to be a whole new look for them.
Especially as a featured player. Like that's the big part of it. I mean, he had a heck of a performance in the bubble. I mean, so did Jason Tatum, but was he technically a featured player? I mean, I know
not every game.
I'm not trying to quote Gordon Hayward, what he was saying when he first joined the Charlotte Hornets, but like I feel like now that he's a clear-cut featured player, we know that it's him. Between him and Tatum is their team. We know that since last season, but because he didn't play last year, this is going to be his first postseason as in that role. So I think there's a lot to say about that. I think that's significant. Another thing is the story that we've been talking about all season long. I mean, these two, what's been most important about how well they've been playing is that they're complementing each other. Like, that was always the question. If one guy goes off, can the other also do the same? We've seen it plenty of times this season, especially, the fact that they both scored, over 30-plus points, was 8 games. All that's happened pretty much, throughout the course of the whole season. It's only happened the last few months. So a lot of those games, that's a testament as to them really finding their stride and being able to complement each other. Jason Tatum's passing ability, I think, has a little bit to do with that as well. But to credit Jaylen Brown, he's also found his own way, and that it's been huge. It's not easy for someone like him, right, who has such a high skill set and have to sort of share the ball with someone like Tatum and figure things out and maybe have that uncomfortable conversation that they had a couple of months ago and seeing it all play out the way it has since.
Yeah, Jaylen did discuss their relationship again, whether or not all the talk of them being broken up made them tighter. And Brown said it probably did. All the discussions that they had to have and the questions and stuff being made up, he asserted, certainly about them not liking each other. It did make them think about it and address it more than they probably would have if people weren't talking about it. So good to hear that. I asked Ime after the game just how Jalen's kind of found his sweet spot, and like you said, Josue, if they are rolling at this level together into the playoffs, it's going to be dangerous for opposing teams. Here's what Ime said. What do you think kind of his sweet spot is in this offense at this point, now that he's hit his stride? Have you kind of seen him reach that point?
Yeah, to some extent. He can score in so many ways, so it's not just Jaylen, it's us learning how to use him as well and put him in certain positions. And I think we've learned our team well, and we all have certain plays we like to run for these guys, and Jaylen can do it all. I mean, pick and roll, isolation, post up, off ball, and so he can kind of run the gamut as far as scoring, and it's just a matter of matchups. But now that we've tightened things up and we have certain plays we like to run for these guys, it's just how the flow of the game is going, how teams are guarding, and the matchups that they have. So I think his growth has been big, not only a scoring standpoint, but getting those assists up, and he's understanding as well. It's not just Jason that's doubled. He's going to see crowds every night. When you're scoring 24, 25 a game, teams are going to load up on you as well, and so he's improved in that area vastly.
It's looking good for Brown, looking good for Tatum. There is still one question kind of lingering that fans are curious about, and listen, the media, I think, has a reason to be curious about, because Toronto still has the mandate in place that you can't even cross the border if you're an opposing player. You can't be in person there if you're traveling to Toronto to play the Raptors, and that's been that way since January 15th. The November game that they played in Toronto doesn't count, and the last time, most recently, that they played the Raptors last week, Tatum stayed home, Brown stayed home, Horford stayed home. So Tatum confirmed in the preseason that he's vaccinated. Horford effectively said last week that he'll be good to go. Didn't answer the question directly, but said he'll be good if they do have that series with Toronto. Brown hadn't talked to the media in over a week. He does talk to them here this afternoon and says that as the head of the Players Association, he wants to protect player privacy and not comment on his vaccination status or anybody's. So we're left hanging here. There's under 2 weeks until the playoffs start. If he needs to get vaccinated, if anyone needs to get vaccinated on this team, it's going to have to happen in the next few days here. And we effectively don't know. Celtics said they'll be good to go, but at the same time, no commented their status as a full team if they have to play the Raptors. And there's a real chance now, as this lines up, that you could be in a 4-5 meeting with Toronto or a 3-6. I know the commenters freak out when we talk about this, but it is a real question.
Yeah, well, I think the commenters need to remember that what's most important is, are they going to be available? And if Jaylen says that, then you have to take him for his word at that. If Al Horford says it, we have to take him for his word as that. I mean, I think that's what this boils down to. We're not interested in seeing people's vax cards. I think, most collectively as the media, I'm sure everyone will tell you that. It's just more as, can this team play, are they going to be at full strength, minus Rob Williams, of course, or not? I mean, that's what we need to find out. And if Jaylen says he's going to be available, then that's it. The conversation is done. I don't think you're going to hear any more questions after that. I mean, those are the three guys everyone was mostly concerned about because of the last trip that when they went to Toronto. So I think, the fact that Ime Udoka said, look, I don't ask them, that's between them. This is a private matter. I don't ask my players if they're vaccinated. I think that said, that speaks volumes for where they stand in the sense of look, you don't have to tell us, but we're going to make sure that these guys will be available. And if they're saying that, then that's good news for the Celtics and, of course, for Celtics fans watching.
Yeah, the availability is the issue here. We'll see who's going to be able to play in that series. If it gets to that point, Celtics secure a 3-game lead on Toronto ahead of Toronto's game with Miami tonight. So if Toronto loses that game, Celtics all set with home court in that series. Yes. Chicago certainly 3.5 games back now. Celtics have effectively slammed the door on Chicago catching them here. Winning Tuesday would all but clinch that. And it looks like the Celtics are going to have home court here. They're in the 2 seed. Be great to stay up there, but rest is going to be something they balance here as they head on the road. Chicago Wednesday, Thursday at the Bucks, and Sunday at the Grizzlies to round out this season. It's just about playoff time, Josue. Next time we're back here.
That's right.
Game
I'll be
1.
back on the road, and then we'll see you when you get back, man.
We'll be back here for Game 1 of the playoffs. I'll be in Chicago, Milwaukee. Follow our live coverage. Start the road trip. Sherrod heading to Milwaukee and Memphis on that trip. So Celtics post-game show will all be there. And stay tuned, CLNSmedia.com for my reports out there, as well as the CLNS Media YouTube page for all the pressers. And our Discord, of course. Come join the conversation there throughout the week with a couple off days to ahead here to begin the last week of the NBA regular season. Celtics 144, Wizards 102 for Josue Pavon. I'm Bobby Manning. We'll talk to you later in the week.